We're going to discuss those whispers from eternity we get in the middle of the night, the very soft urgings we get from our soul. We have little visions or contact with a family member who may have passed when we were young, or a distant love relationship or friendship, and you realize who loves you and not, and different kind of visitations. Not the meaty kind of the everyday, all that, I mean, the lighter ones, and they're almost out of focus. And today we're going to bring those almost out of focus whispers from eternity into our heart and soul, through our mind and our body and our everyday life. And we're going to re-inhabit the earth with our soul, not a body. And we are going to transcend our body with our soul. We talked about in these videos about the religious person who believes they're their body. When they die, they'll be judged and go to heaven or not. And today we're going to discuss the spiritual fact of heaven with us. That you are heaven. And it's just the fact of addressing these subtle whispers and hints of a better way, a better life, a better time. Not off in the distance at the end of time, but now, in this timeless moment. When we come in contact with this and we quiet ourselves to whatever means, we'll rediscover something in the heart of every spiritual person in the world. And that thing is a purpose, is a meaning, is a truth, and is a power beyond all the agencies of this world. It's called divinity, it's called God, but most of all, it's you. Isn't it you? Your heart and your soul have preeminence over everything in this world, which is known through all spiritual philosophies and teachings in the world to be a hell, at very most a way station through eternity. And today we'll discuss the different ways we can re-inhabit everything around us with our pure, lighter sensibilities and sensitivities. So there won't be whispers of eternity. My being a spiritual person, living in this complete spiritual state 24 hours a day for 50 years and all before that. And I'm speaking to many, probably several hundred million of us in the world. And we never get a chance to make our case because no one listens. In my case, I know I'm saying this on behalf of all of us that are truly spiritual. Everyone in this room is. We're so humble inside and so contrite that we really don't ever get to make our case, not because of us, because we are unimaginably humble, contrite, but there are no open ears around us. The world is the world. And the world is not the world. God is the world. God is your soul, yourself, your mind, your body. You're not your body or your problems or the solution to your problems. You're made of a lightness, an airiness, these whispers that will bellow from the mountaintops at the end of this video, this session, this time together. It's a spiritual empowerment. You can own the entirety of your life and sing a new song. There's no reason not to. If we look at the world around us, we'll see that it's in a, of course, horrible condition, but that's not our consciousness. Those of us who spend a life of prayer, meditation, whatever you want to call it, whatever enables us to sit quietly, like with the Buddhist monks I've lived with different times in my life, for short periods of time. They're all family and friends. They have a quiet and a love and a purity, and you're not missing anything when you are involved with God, with eternity, with the pure love from above. You don't miss anything. It's like an older person who they forego the simple passions of youth. They don't want to change. They wouldn't give up anything of the peace they have for youth. It would mean nothing. It's not interesting. There's nothing they want to do, nowhere they want to go. They just want to see those they love succeed. It ends there. We all know if we have a picture of a grandmama around the house somewhere that passed it, we feel that love, and she's still there. No one ever died. You cannot die. This session is about you allowing yourself to have the presence of God that you are within spread through the entirety of your existence and own your life spiritually. There'll be no more pain, no more sorrow, no more regret, no more victims, no more problems or solutions. This is a higher nature spirituality. So when you're very, very quiet inside, I mean humble, where you can hear a pin drop. And all of us here and all of us who are truly spiritual are that. We don't know how to express it because the world does not listen. If we have one person in life that actually listens to us when we expound upon the terrors of the everyday life, then that's a miracle for us. And treat that person very well. But there is one who's not so invisible to the spiritual among us. The artist reaches for them with their pen, with their brush. Mom reaches for that pure love by entrusting her heart and soul and her mind and body to the children that they may be as free as she desired to live. Was it Emerson or Thoreau said that all men lead lives of quiet desperation? We know what that means. We're alone for a few minutes. You have all these confusing thoughts and so forth. I myself have developed many means of clarifying our emotions, our thought streams. There are many different ways of doing it. Seek a couple and start being very attentive to these subtle voices. Quiet yourself. And eventually you'll be able to live fearlessly in this world. At a horrible time, it doesn't matter, it's always been a horrible time according to where you are and who you are and what it is. Every tribe, every country, every nation, every religion has different ways of fighting evil and so forth. And I'm saying, let yourself be as you are in heaven now. You are your spirit. That's who you are. 1/1,000,000,000 of 1% of you seems to be here. And I say that with a little smile and lightly because it's 1/1,000,000,000 of 1/1,000,000,000 of 1% that's here. You are everything that God is. So if we listen to those pure, quiet, calm voices that help push us forward and re-identify with our soul, and it's not our fault. We are great heroes in heaven, all of us who are spiritual, who have incarnated through that aperture called birth. We're not really here. So the spiritual among us are quiet enough to know that. And I'm saying you can re-employ your spiritual powers to overcome all the dark forces around you. You will not die. You will become much more spiritual. Not that you aren't totally that now, but you're going to allow that to move through you, despite the fact that you'll have no support of this world. The whole thing is a beingness. I have to explain it. There's infinite God, infinite you, this quiet presence that's spread through eternity. It's word infinite completely is a failure. When I talk to God late at night or whenever everything stops and I'm so contrite I can't look up, despite the fact I am happier, I feel this ecstatic, powerful presence always, and yet I die inside 1,000 deaths quietly, not in a bad way, because I know somewhere in the next few minutes or moments God will say 2 words or 5 words, and when that happens, it'll carry you for 20 years. Let it happen. And you'll be glad all over. There is a God. You're here in a holy mission. You are your presence. You're not your body. You're not your problems or the solution to your problems. You're a godness. You're like a vapor. That's who you really are. But if you keep listening to these voices, identifying with the purity of your spirit, you'll overcome the whole world. It's the God's truth. For 50 years I've been bombarded and inundated and attacked around the clock with everything in the world, so I understand it all. And I didn't do for myself. I had this experience from birth, and when I became aware of it 50 years ago through my buddy John Buxbasin, Dr. Buxbasin in Los Angeles, it was like, oh. I asked him what meditation was, and he said, follow your breath. And as soon as I did for that 1/8 of a second, I knew everything about God, because all of us who are spiritual, we have been all of our life. We just need that awakening moment to remind us. And then we'll get it. And we'll know that we're here on a heroic mission, spiritually speaking, although we'll never feel that, we'll always feel contrite and humble, always. I've never been proud of myself, which is just do something and someone likes it. Fall inside myself more deeply, quietly. And sometimes urgently, if I feel I'm going to be proud of it or I achieved something, because I didn't achieve anything, because I'm not here. But it's good to get little wins here and there, isn't it, to help you go forward. You have to establish like a way station here where you can communicate with people around you, and different agencies, travel agencies around me, groups of people or workers or friends, or here in the gym. We're in the middle of a big gym here, believe it or not. Different ways of relating to different people. For myself, I say I have worked out and I've taught people and worked with different groups to be completely quiet inside. So I understand every conceivable thought, every action, every activity, every feeling I have, whatever feelings I'm getting from other people, whether it's from them or some kind of devilish presence through them or some kind of being out in the air somewhere, I always understand it, always, everything. Doesn't mean I'm always happy, because there might be people near me that are upset by something. I have to calm them down. And it's very, very subtle. So think of being a mom or a grandmom. A grandmom you have a pure love with. She's not responsible for the everyday actions, so she's there as an oversight to just provide love and guidance in a gentle way. And so that's who you're going to be. You're going to be everyone's granddad. I always felt that I was 20 that I was always everyone's daddy. So I never thought of the normal way of living. I didn't think that consciously, but I was always taking care of people. And that's what all mature people do. We have 5 people in this room, and they're all family people, so they know exactly what I'm saying. You're here for your son, your daughter, your husband. You're here to care and help that person succeed, and it ends there. And sometimes it costs us 102% of our happiness. And that's okay. We can't stop, we won't stop. Be quietly aware of, not proud of, but proud of you, that you are a divine presence. And that's the beginning takeaway from this. And from that, you'll elaborate out this way and that way of handling people, of listening to the people around you, of not getting upset. Do not let this world upset you. And when you hear these whispers after today's talk, you'll pay more attention. Break away from it. Don't let other things take you right back to the earth, as it were. If you're falling asleep and 2 in the morning, you kind of wake up and you feel the presence of a lost love that you didn't work, but it was a pure love there. Or a friend, my friend Kathleen, I consider her my spiritual teacher 50 years ago. I knew her, and I'm just, so that keeps me humble. People like that, or my mom, my grandmom, or this, can't even look them in the eye. They're so true to this presence of humility, of kindness, of being there for the others. They're actually voices from eternity. They're not normal people. They're not one of us. They're beyond. Be more attentive to the subtlety of their purity and kindness. They're reminding you, and they're part of you. We're one beingness. There aren't two people in the world. There's God, and we are rays of light from God in this world, not less. And I'm saying, if you gather yourself up together in a few short months, probably 2 to 3 months, you'll know everything that's being said today. And then you won't mind the warfare. And you're not going to die. You won't die. You can't die. You will become more and more spiritual. When I met Ramana Maharshi in India, I think he died in 1939 or passed or whatever, and I went to his place, and where he was sitting on this divan, this little couch type thing, and he was still sitting there in samadhi. I was with my friend John Hills, and he was just made of light. Just my friend John and myself traveling all throughout India, Tibet, whatever, all over the world. It was so it was no big deal. My friend John was clairvoyant, and we saw his presence like he was still there. And there are other people who walk through here and there, they didn't see it. When you sit in these states, you're beyond time and place, and so you will become Ramana Maharshi, you will become Jesus Christ, you'll become Moses, you will become illumined. You'll become God. And that's okay. And the more you become God, the more humble you're going to be. You'll know everything, you'll figure everything out. And you'll protect the streets and the barrios and the places and the times of this world and the climate. You will allow these whispers from eternity to own you, to be you. We're one presence. There's one God, one eternity, one purity. And it's 1000% in your heart. We're here to be taught and learn, but we're already in charge. And when you're that spiritual, you're always humble. I had a buddy one time who came here for advice from me, and he was at the very top of what he does in the world. And I was shocked that he asked me advice. But then I realized that people that are that good at something, at the very top, not just somebody successful and they got lucky or things do work for them, but people at the very top, and they'll have a complete humility. They're very spiritual. And some are not. So I'm saying at the very top of spirituality is who you were at birth. So that's why you're tripped up all the time, because you're humble. You allow things, you weigh them. And you'll get better and better of it, and you'll use gifts and powers that you have within you to overcome everything around you. You will never die. You will become a spiritual presence. You'll become the light of the ages. You are the light of ages now. You will own the ground that you walk on, but you won't touch the ground again. You'll walk an inch or two above it with every step. You're going to feel lighter, airier, kinder, truer, more competent, more confident, and you'll figure all the different things of your particular stream of presence through this world to step right through it. It's a lie. It's a projection of something we call Satan, Mephistopheles, whatever. I say it with a smile, because if you're truly spiritual, like the great spiritual leaders in the world who are not out in the world, they're at home quiet, still, sublime, pure. They are eternity. There are many among us like that. You're at least one of them. And when you're very quiet, you're at least all of them. And when you're very, very, very quiet, you'll see him, the only God. This world is an illusion. It's in all the spiritual texts and writings and teachings. More than that, it's in your heart. So listen to these subtle whispers that pass through you, these little visions you have at night and during the day. And the world itself will clamor right around you instantly to try to make you aware of this. And the more you empower these voices and keep your concentration there, it's not fighting for it, it's just you're in adoration. It's a war of humility and kindness and respect, being in awe of your mom's presence, your grandmom, the great teachers in your life. And then you'll be in what the Buddhists call the Pure Land. And it's not a place. I've talked before when I was in India, and friend John and so forth. And I knew that my friends, the lamas, or teachers in the mountains, when they talked about the Pure Land, they weren't looking for, like you had the book Lost Horizon, one of the great books that were written about spirituality, and by James Hilton, 1931, the first paperback ever written. And he wrote Mrs. Minifer, and Goodbye Mr. Chips, and several other things, the great. And he had a certain purity in his writing. And the point being, when you're very, very, very humble, and you'll have a sense of high culture, of purity. You'll arrange things differently. You'll communicate differently. You'll allow yourself to live with dignity and not be pushed and not listen to these voices right away, but just do it your way. Walk through the crowds humbly, fearlessly, kindly. Because there are no crowds, people are not their body. And as soon as you get that straight in your mind, the next 2 or 3 months, and you will, you'll be in the Pure Land, because it's not a place you go to. It's a place that already is. So in Lost Horizon, they're looking for the Pure Land through traveling and finding lost mountains. And it's a magical book. Like all great art is magical and takes you to this place. Like soften your senses. When you see a writer looking out the window, he's not looking out the window, he's writing, an artist. When a mom's looking out the window late at night, she's grieving for and wondering and begging the universe to understand how to best help her little boy or her little girl in the next morning. You understand? There's something wondrously good about you. Disallow the world from robbing this from you anymore. Listen to those subtle voices, to those subtle impressions that will come to you through the early evening hours. You'll step away from the light of the day into the sweetness of eventide, and you are the body of God. You are a body of light. That's who you really are. Identify with it. You don't have to go anywhere or do anything or think anything. You just believe this in your heart, feel it, and it will open up. You don't have to go anywhere. God will be with you from this moment in eternity, forevermore. You gave up your divinity to be here, to be God's voice, to be a teacher. That's why you were born. You let go of the pain, the trauma, you listen to the subtle voices, and you'll be more and more contrite before God. And the temptations that come at you will be dissuaded, disarmed, dislodged from where they seem to be in this world, which isn't a world, and that's the first step. We're not religious, this is our body and it's real, and if we do right, we'll go to heaven. We're spiritual, which means we're in heaven now. It's not taking away, there are spiritual people that are better people than me spiritually and in their heart and soul. I mean, that are religious, but they're so contrite that they wouldn't even think to go there, and that's what we're really talking about, isn't it? Being contrite before our Maker. I know this is unbelievable, but our Maker is contrite before this, and I want to say this real clear because this is my work. When you see the real God, it's unimaginable. Even to those among us who have felt visions and spiritual presence throughout our life, had that experience you'd call enlightenment, nirvana, whatever you want to call it. And when you wake up and remember who you really are, there's a vast stretch of the universe. There are universes, they're all spiritual, all made of light, of glory, but they're all infinitely more wonderful and real than this world. There are no words for it. Outside of true love, outside of, you can't begin to ever understand it. So you've given all of that up to be here. You understand what a great soul you are? You understand what you did, who you are, what you're made of? You're God in a body, but this body isn't. But you took that on to help the people in this universe. There is an infinite universe in this one little grain of sand in eternity called this world. It's hell. It's an illusion. And as soon as you start cleansing the doors of perception, you'll see everything as it is, infinite. Everything as it is you. You gave all that up to help. Do you understand? It's that simple, and that explains everything else. It's like the E equals MC squared of spiritual consciousness. You gave all that up to be here, to be one more atom of pain and fear, to figure out what it is. Now you know what it is, and the rest of your life you will teach. You don't have to go anywhere or do anything. God will be with you in your heart and soul and mind and body, and you'll teach, you'll learn around the clock, and it's a little erratic at times in the beginning, and you're going to love it and enjoy it because you'll see that everything that's being said is true. The world is a hell, it is an illusion, and you become very quiet and very fearless. That's why people feel so good when they exert themselves in any activity and excel. Oh, they fought through their fears. There is no fear when you know you're not your body, or your problems, or the solution to your problems. You're made of God. God will be with you every moment. In the next few months, you'll know things that no one's ever known. Because it took you for God to get here. You gave up godness. You are holy. And holy is very natural. It's the sentiment of the whole, of the soul. You're wonderful, kind, true, intelligent, aware, capable, effective. And your humility has been your only problem in life because you've allowed things to stick onto you. So in your quiet times, you'll allow the presence of God that will be with you 24 hours a day, forevermore, as was before we were born. And you'll gently come back to that on your feet in this world. And this world won't be. The world will die. You cannot die. You're a holy personage. You're a high roller in a low rent neighborhood. Get that? I say that humorously because we have to look at it very clearly and figure out whatever way it is to break the chains that are wrapped around us called conditioning. Just know that God will be with you every moment, forevermore. You'll learn all the subtleties and all, there's a lot of creepiness in the world. You'll be taught, you'll learn, and in a few short months, you'll clean up your neighborhood. You'll become the light living, the living light. God will be with you. now and forever. In this quest, you just have to be conscious of it. Now, I'm not saying this against you, I'm saying it with you, for you, because I need you to understand. Because you need your mom to understand. My mom is a teacher, my Kathleen Judge, my buddy Susan, who wrote one of my 2 books. So it's just beautiful. There are good people in this world. Protect them. Instruct them lightly. Listen to them. Let them unload their case. Put your arm around them. Support them in whatever the mission they're on. And so we expand through the darkness. We are the living light of God. God will be with you every moment from here on in. And that's why I know what's said today will be effective. God will not let you go. Not that God ever has. This is just simply a reminder of how great you are. You gave up divinity to be here, to understand what it is. Now that you do, you can communicate in the language of the day. You understand what's being said emotionally, psychologically. You can be in the material world and communicate to it what I've attempted feebly to do. You'll do it much better, won't you? It's why you were born. God will be with you every moment through the rest of this seeming ordeal. In a few short months, you'll be very, very confident, quietly, humbly, because you'll understand that this monster is a monster that doesn't have to be acknowledged, and you can walk through it and you can protect all the babies, of all the mommies. And there will be peace in the kingdom. Thank you for listening. God will be with you every moment. So when the temptations come at you in the first few months, don't worry about it. Just quiet yourself and wait for the whispers. Take care of yourself. God will be with you to teach you, to care for you, to protect you. As you've given up all of your protections to figure this out, and now God will remind you how great you are, and you'll be a clear transparency, a teaching presence, and you'll lift up all your friends and neighbors, and you'll protect everybody. And the devil will come at you in different ways. And in the beginning, you'll kind of almost enjoy it because you'll learn so much. And it will heal all the different things in your life that set you up, that made you feel like you did a bad choice here or there. And you'll be cleared of everything. You are innocent. Guilty without wanting to be, and innocent without knowing. You are innocence personified. You are a very high roller in a low-rent neighborhood. You will succeed. You will complete your spiritual destiny. Thank you for listening. God will be with you every moment from now on in. That's true. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Greg.